And I want to thank everyone for taking time to come out this evening. A little background information about myself. I'm a practicing internal medicine physician for the last 15 plus years, really passionate about chronic care and elderly, focused primarily my practice on skilled nursing facilities, LTACs, and more inpatient basis. Throughout my practice, what I realized is as time progressed, more and more of the practice was swaying away and not allowing me to spend time with my patients on a due diligence. And that epiphany came to me about 6 years ago when my mom first got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and she came back to me and said, Neem, my neurologist has put me on 2 meds, and I feel a little better, but I'm in this cloud and foggy feeling that I can't really function and conversate with you or your boys. And I said, well, Mom, let's see what else we can do. Started taking her to a different neurologist, a different specialist. They just coincidentally added more medicines. She was on Mirapex, then Requip, along with the carbidopa, levodopa, then primidone. And finally she had it. And I looked back on that moment. At the same time, I was focusing on my practice, and I saw a lot of my elderly patient population in their 70s and 80s that were coming in and saying the same thing. They're saying, hey, we're really tired. We don't know what's changed that's making this happen. And then you go through this $1 million workup because they've already seen the cardiologist, they've seen the nephrologist, they've seen multiple specialists, and they end up coming back to the internist for the final delineation of what's going on. And it always came down to one thing, is they were on so many medicines that were co-interacting with each other, leading to a lot of the fatigue, lethargy, tiredness, and everything else. So back to my mom, I said, Mom, let's start over. Let's get rid of all these meds and just stick with the carbidopa, levodopa, and let me look into some alternative treatment modalities that we may be able to implement to help. And her biggest complaint was trouble sleeping, and then her tremor was progressively worsening, which was affecting her ability to sleep. So she couldn't get comfortable. So started doing research, started looking into turmeric and anti-inflammatory benefits, started looking into CBD and THC and other byproducts, and really went around the nation probably about 4 years ago. Went to California, went to Oregon, went to Nevada, went to Colorado, just to get the gist of, hey, what can I provide that's going to improve the quality of life and not just the quantity of life? And I realized that time that led me try CBD on my mom, ended up getting it, and she was amazed. Her functionality improved, her sleep component improved, and she wasn't in this fog anymore. So I started learning more and more about the plant, started understanding the endocannabinoid system. It's a relatively young infancy, in its infancy. So it was only diagnosed and found back in 1990. So there's a lot of data on the endocannabinoid system that comes out of Israel and Europe and overseas, partly because it was deregulated over there. So marijuana or MMJ and CBD were deregulated well ahead of what's going on in the US here. So Europe, Israel are a lot ahead of the game than we are. But like Dr. Jasani put, there are 23,000 studies that actually show how these compounds influence the body. And it always comes down to a few factors, right? So we ourselves influence our bodies and create a lot of free radicals to be formed, which lead to cell morphology and often lead to a lot of these disease states. So insomnia doesn't allow our bodies to heal and recoup and not regenerate those cells. Anxiety, stress, all these things lead to worsening free radicals, which ultimately lead to a lot of disease. So I always went back to understand how this body is trying to get back into balance, and really found the passion in CBD and how it works. And it really is almost a communicator amongst a lot of your systems already in your body. So like Dr. Jasani said, it's not a cure-all. It's not going to cure your diabetes. It's not going to make you lose weight. It's not going to, cure your cancer, but it does have some senescence on improving and bringing your body back into balance, which ultimately helps your anxiety, your sleep, and a lot of mild arthritic pain and discomfort. So in 2018, we had the luxury of ultimately, bumping into Sean and Barry. They were holding one of these meetings, and they invited me to come to the meeting. I sat down with them, and they said, "Hey, Neem, we're considering starting a CBD company." I said, "Look, this is the wild, wild west. And ever since the Farm Bill got deregulated here in the U.S. in December of 2018, you can find a CBD store on every corner, probably every mall. There's online websites. Your neighbor knows about it. The grocery store guy knows. Your trash can guy knows. But there's no regulation. So when they opened it up, they put no regulation at all, which is the most frustrating thing, because a lot of my patients come in and they're frustrated with the chronic narcotic use, the chronic anxiety medicines of Xanax and Klonopin and the chronic sleep aids, and they're just looking for something to aid in them getting to feel better and improve the quality of life that they're lacking. So the benefit of what these guys were presenting, I said, you guys are looking at this completely wrong. I will not join your mission unless you promise me one thing. And I said, you're going to have to provide knowledge, because the more education, the more knowledge we could provide, the better we empower our patients, our consumers, our neighbors on what this product is. At the same time, I said, whatever product you put out there, you better make it best in class. Make sure it's the top quality thing that you can survive 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when these regulations do come about, because they are coming. Because what's happening right now, and you saw the epidemic before COVID hit, is the misery of what vape pens were doing to our children and teenagers and any individual that was using vape pens and getting interstitial pulmonary edema and ending up with chronic pulmonary disease. So these regulations are going to come faster than we expect. So I explained to them back in, I think, November or September or November time in 2018, when they were first starting this company, that, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I really want to help, but I need you to follow a few things that I'm suggesting. So they go above and beyond in making sure the product is not only internally tested, but they also send it out to 2 external tests for labs. They test every batch that comes in. Again, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an educator, and I'm so passionate about that. Like I said, I educate my patients. Wellness Bioscience is not the only masterful CBD product out there. There's several other quality products out there. So what I do is I educate my patient who brings in the product and teach them, hey, you have to be considerate of where this product comes from. It comes from a plant. There can be heavy metals on it. There can be pesticides on it. There can be other chemicals that can potentially cause you more harm than the benefit that CBD is going to do. So that is the passion that I always kind of speak when I go to these meetings. And, the one thing I've realized through time, and when I started this, I said, look, we're going to continue to be proactive and find new products. The meter dose inhaler, we executed on that just about, I would say, 4 to 5 months ago, just because we knew that was a unique product that improves bioavailability and absorptivity directly into the body on people that want instant relief. We've turned into a society that wants instant stuff. And this being one of those things that make it so unique that patients can get relief from knee pain or a headache pretty quickly. At the same time, you have to understand CBD is not incrementally going to get infused if you take more. So our genetic makeups of all our bodies are completely different. So just because you take 20 milligrams and then you take 40 milligrams, you think you're going to get an exhilarated response. That's not the case. So I've been passionate and was able to find a DNA technology company that I've been working with probably for about the last 2 years, who actually do DNA genetic testing on individuals before they start CBD or THC-based products. And it actually gives you a 20-page breakdown of what our genetic makeup is to show the exact dosing, because 48 to 50% of individuals will waste 6 months of trial and error methodologies of what dose of CBD should I take? Should I take 50 milligrams? Should I take 100 milligrams? Should I take it once a day? Should I take it twice a day? And I was able to find a very validated, user-friendly, accurate system that we actually have on our website that we encourage patients to go use. It's a one-time test. It actually gives you your personalized genetic breakdown on appropriate dosing for different modalities, for pain, for insomnia, for anxiety, which is completely different from what the rest of the CBD world does. Like I said, what I've seen is more of a wild, wild west, and there's lack of education on what these compounds and products can do. So, you know, I'm here for questions. If you guys have anything, Dr. Jasani and myself are glad to answer anything from that standpoint. I know Barry did mention that I'm passionate about the legality of a lot of the licensing that goes on. During my journeys through all those states that I mentioned, we had the fortunate opportunity to win a license in Oklahoma. And Oklahoma legalized marijuana or MMJ back in 2018 of July. So a partner of mine who was in chronic care also, who developed nursing homes, LTACs, and a hospice, we realized that there is a lack of information on this product. So we actually are doing an R&D center up in Oklahoma right now and studying different terpenes. And like Dr. Jasani said, we've actually created it like an FDA ISO certified GMP facility. So we use a chromatography machine that actually preserves the plant and breaks the compounds down into a unique methodology. We've hired plant scientists, PhD individuals. We're working right now with the University of Arkansas and their program and bringing interns in to start a study program. The lack of studies in the U.S. is partly because, like I said, this industry is still in its infancy. In 2018 was the first time it got deregulated. It went from a Schedule 1 product to a Schedule 5 product. And when that happened is when most of the universities started from true cannabis. The reason I say that is I think this industry ultimately is going to be a balance of CBD, which is anti-inflammatory, and THC, which is analgesic. We all think of THC as a recreational compound, and we only look at it as the livelihood and people jumping around, but THC does have analgesic benefits that are less side effect profile than narcotics. And when you add CBD to that THC and you raise that CBD component, you negate the psychoactive effects of that THC. So I think where this industry is headed, and I think where the FDA and the pharmaceutical industry is going to be headed, is there will be a deregulation nationwide, probably in a couple years, of MMJ, and it will be so strict and stringent that it has to be done like a pharmaceutical-based company. And that's what I'm striving for Wellness Biosciences. That's why I've been pushing those guys. That's why I'm going to continue to bring additional physicians and continue to do research, as well as find new products that are unique to this industry, which has been lacking. So thank you guys for your time, and I'm here for any further questions thereafter. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Sean.